Hi everyone, today a bit of a special video. That's because you will see a car that you've never seen before, and that's because it's my car. So it's something very standard, Golf 7.5R, and the idea is basically to make kind of a return of experience on how it's been to live with it for the past 3.5 years. Unfortunately, the new car hasn't arrived yet, so I have to keep it for a little longer. But yeah, this video will be about the good, the bad, what's great about it, what I didn't like about it, the things that are actually great to live with, because there's a lot of tiny bits that are actually very, very enjoyable in everyday driving. So that's what we'll discuss today. Let's go. Alright, so starting with the exterior of the car. So we'll not spend a lot of time here because it's freezing outside. Very standard spec, blue, which was Cadiz, I don't remember. Blue Lapis, I think it was actually. The standard 18-inch rims, which look quite good, I would say. They don't look too small. That's one of the good things about this car. As standard on the European spec, you get the LED lights. Maybe they were a bit less bright than my previous Renault Clio RS trophy that I had before. A bit surprising for a Volkswagen, but yeah, the LED is a bit less bright. The brakes were changed after 45,000 kilometers. I had to replace the 4 discs as well as the pads for a total cost of 1,500 euros. So that's something to keep in mind. You have here the aluminum mirrors, tinted windows, and to finish here, the quad pipe exhaust. Something interesting about this one is that you have a valve system, which means that if you drive in normal mode, you would have the only 2 center pipes that are open, and then as soon as you switch it to race, then you have all 4 pipes opening. Which means that if they're all dirty, it means that this guy is driving in race most of the time, but if only the center ones are dirty, it means that person is driving with the valve closed most of the time. Overall, very simple spec, I would say, but still looking good. Now looking at the boot, very spacious, I would say. Have nice features. You can block the floor, the upward position to get what's underneath it. You can put it in a low position if you need more space, but yeah, quite great. If you fold the seats, you can put a full race bike without removing any wheel in the car, which has been very convenient for me. At the rear, quite spacious. You can basically carry around 4 people, no issues, even on long journeys. Yeah, it's been just great to live with, and occasionally when you have friends, you can just take them along, and that's absolutely not an issue. You have here specific trim on the R, that is lighting blue here, some fake leather. As far as the interior goes, very simple interior, I would say. So here you find your Discover Media GPS navigation system. It's the small version, let's say. You have a bigger one where you lose all the shortcuts on the sides and they are replaced by a full screen. But I would really wanted to keep here the volume and position switches, because it's easier to find when you're not looking. Same here for the climate control. Very easy to read and operate. So that's been really great for this car. So the ergonomics in general is really spot on, and that's one of the big, let's say, qualities of the Golf 7, and that's something that you will lose with the Golf 8. Flat bottom steering wheel, kind of nice looking, I think. As you saw it's a manual gearbox, one of the few that have manual gearboxes, and maybe a small reminder on the specs. So this car is 310 HP, but if you get the manual version, you have 380 Newton meters of torque, so the torque is limited. And if you get the DSG instead, it's around 400 Newton meters of torque. Four-wheel drive, as you probably know and you see here, for motion. Let's go back to the interior. Here, as I said, LED strips, blue LED strips on the doors. The accents everywhere are blue. You can see here into the cluster. Now, if we go just to the modes, because that's something I wanted to touch on. This car has the DCC. You can circle through the modes, and there's something I didn't quite like about it. And for instance, it's in the Eco mode. In the Eco mode, the DCC is put in normal. Normal is the medium mode, which means that it's kind of medium firm. What you want is basically to cruise. So I don't get why you would like the car to be kind of brittle on bad roads. So that's something I never really understood, and then I would have liked the DCC to be in comfort once in Eco mode. One interesting point about Eco is that when you put the engine in Eco mode, when you are full throttle, you don't have the full boost. The turbo is limiting itself, so you don't have the full power of the car. However, there's a secondary switch when you push the pedal a bit more. So if I push the pedal, I'm full gas, and then I can push a bit more, and then you unlock the full potential of the car. Because if you need, for instance, to get out of a tricky situation and need the whole power of the car, of course you can still do it. That's a neat trick with the Eco mode. What's cool about the individual mode is that you can switch and select anything you would like with the different aspects of the car. So basically the sound, you can put it into comfort, normal, eco and race. You can basically do that for any of these individual aspects. And what I like to do is get the individual mode with DCC on normal, everything in race, and then adjust engine sound depending on my mood, basically. Yeah, so that's it on the modes. Definitely the DCC is an option I would recommend. You can get a car that's both comfortable, a normal Golf, as well as really sporty when you need it. Finally, for those who would be interested in that, the fuel consumption has been around 9.5 liters. This is just for the last 4,000 kilometers, but I can tell you that over the 45,000 kilometers I did, I'm around 9.5, 10 liters, but I only drive short commutes where the engine is not totally warm at the end of the trip, so around 15 minutes trips. Wanted to comment quickly on the navigation system. Never really used it. That's because I have Apple CarPlay. You can get your Android Auto as well. That's an option, so that's an extra like $150 I believe. But yeah, never used really the navigation system, so I will not comment on how good it is. Only use Waze with that. Okay, now let's talk about how it's like to drive this car. This car has the DCC, dynamic chassis control. It can really go from extremely comfortable with the soft dampers to quite bumpy, firm ride with the race mode. So in race mode, the car really feels flat during cornering, and you have heavier steering wheel, you have more noise, and I can show you the noise quickly because you can see how it's like if you are in comfort and switch to race. So the idea is that in race mode you open the valves, you have some kind of a vibrator underneath the windshield that is making some kind of additional rally noise in the cabin, and also what you get is some kind of a rumble as soon as you let off the gas. Apply a bit of gas, and once you release, you hear pop, 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 pop. It's not exactly a pop and bang like you would have on a nicer TN, where it's really sharp, tack, really sharp, short noise. Here it's quite more, longer, like rumblier, low, bassy sound. What I like about this car is actually what you will see just now. Fact that you can absolutely smash the throttle outside of a curve. Yeah, very stable, very adjustable, especially with these winter tires that are slightly more, let's say, slidey, which makes it a bit more fun, because that's one of the major criticisms that I have for this car. It's so composed, so perfect, that sometimes it lacks a bit of emotion and involvement. But what I miss with this car is the fact that you don't really need to work hard to drive quick. You can just smash the throttle in any corner, just get out of the corner as quickly as you came in. It can be seen as a strength if you're not a hardcore driver and what you just want is a very quick car for everyday driving. And if that's what you're after, then that's for you. But if you want the sportiest, let's say sharpest sports tool, this is not the car that you will want. So now, second gear, let's put it in race. Yeah, you basically teleport out of the corner. Super quick, very comfortable car if you put it in comfort now like I did. So yeah, you have the extremely good balance between comfort and sportiness in this car. Let's quickly talk about the engine. So it's a 2-liter TSI, 310 HP. What's great about it is that it has some turbo lag. It's silly to say that, but actually sometimes it feels a bit like it's kind of hollow at low RPM. But at some point, boom, turbo kicks in and then you have a really, really strong push. So it's kind of adding some excitement to the drive. And that's something that if you removed it, would feel just like an electric car. That is absolutely incredible in any condition, that you floor it anytime and you have a lot of power. In this car, yeah, sometimes you have to wait a bit, but I would say that's a good thing. Now, one small word on the quality of life improvement that you can find in this car. So you have, for instance, the ACC, which is active cruise control. It's very convenient, very easy to navigate in traffic and adjust the speed to the car that is preceding you. At the same time, there's a situation where it's not the best. So let's imagine, for instance, that on the right side of the road now there's an escape road that the car is taking in front of me. Sometimes, even though the car has already exited, it's still seeing it in front of me, and it's braking because the car on the side is braking to take the turn, and I'm going straight, and so that's a bit annoying because it's still seeing the car in front of me and just braking as if it was in the same lane as me. That's a bit annoying, but that's quite rare. An additional feature that the radar is allowing is the emergency braking system. It means that if the car in front of you is braking quite harshly, and Golf feels that you don't react quickly enough or strongly enough, it will first trigger an alert saying, hey, just brake. And if in the following split second you don't do that and the car in front of you is still braking hard, then the Golf will just trigger an emergency braking, which sometimes can be quite convenient. Take, to me, mandatory. Oh, yeah, it felt like I was going straight on the barrier. Yeah. Now concluding, this car as a daily driver has been like the best I could ever hope for. It's extremely comfortable, you have a lot of space, great visibility, it's reliable. It's not too shouty outside, I think it looks nice, can be seen as a sleeper almost. I would have liked maybe a bit more sound from the outside. I think this car is a bit muted. And also bear in mind that this car is a car from 2018, so it's pre-OPF, doesn't have the particulate filter, which is cutting even more the sound. However, what's not great about it is maybe the fact that when you push it to the limit, when you want to really enjoy it as a true sports car, that's when the car will fail to deliver, because ultimately it's not a true sports car. It's extremely quick, it's extremely capable, but if you see it as a car that you will take out on Sundays, forget it. It's not a car that you will, like a Porsche, like an F-Type, it's not something that you will just enjoy driving just for driving. You drive it to go to work, you drive it as a daily driver. Sometimes when you find a nice bit of road, you put it in race and it's amazing, but don't expect to be the best driver's car. That's all I mean. Now looking forward, the next car will be a Golf HDI Club Sport, and the idea is basically to retain all the good aspects about the Golf R, so comfort, versatility, all of that, but hopefully with a bit more noise, with the new exhaust, with a bit more involvement, with a bit more, let's say, lightness, because the car is a bit more light than the Golf R. So yeah, that's basically the idea with the Golf HDI Club Sport. Stay tuned for the next video. It will be clearly on the Golf 8 Club Sport. And if you like this kind of content, just don't forget to subscribe, and thank you very much for watching. Have a nice one, guys.